Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to Plan the Day Pro Planning Tips. My name is Christina Goebel, and I'm the co-founder and president of PlanTheDay.com. And I'm really excited to introduce you all to Jen. She is a photographer in the Indianapolis area. And I do have to say, she did my boudoir shoot, and I absolutely am obsessed with my pictures. So she's your girl if you want to do that.
It was a lot of fun. It was. So, thank you so much for having me on.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. And definitely want to let everyone know who's tuning in. If you have questions or just want to comment, there is a little chat box on the bottom, so feel free to do that as we're talking. And Jen, go ahead and introduce yourself. Just tell everyone a little bit more about yourself and your work and go from there.
I am Jen. I am the other half of Jennifer Van Elk Photography. My husband also shoots with me, so we're a husband and wife team. We've shot over 120 beautiful couples in the past 5 years, and we've just really loved the Indianapolis area. It's got a great wedding market.
It is a really fun market. Great people, you know, the couples are super, super sweet. So, and how fun that you get to work with your hubby too. I can relate with that. So
I hear a lot that people say that they wouldn't be able to work with their husband, but we have just a great time. So I guess one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, I hear that. I get that all the time too. Everyone's like, how do you work with your husband? I'm like, I don't know. We just kind of work well together, which is good, which was one of my concerns when I transitioned into being full-time, obviously. I'm like, you just never know, and ended up working out. So
yeah, it's great.
It's been awesome. So, well, let's get started. I'm excited to have you talk about, you know, how brides can really get the most out of their engagement shoot. And another piece too is I love how your thoughts around the whole create a trendy engagement shoot that really fits the couple's personality. You know, I never really thought about that. So I'm excited to hear all about it.
Well, one of the things I think is the most important is really just finding a photographer that fits your style. On top of that, you really want a photographer you can mesh well with, that you feel comfortable with, because really think that if you're comfortable in the photos, you're more than likely going to like them. I mean, do you feel that way with your wedding photos? If there's some of those moments maybe you feel nervous or just didn't feel super comfortable, that maybe not your favorite photos, but those ones that you just felt like this marriage bliss, those were the ones that you just really liked, right?
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. I think that's so important, feeling comfortable with your photographer and having a good relationship with them. So, because I definitely felt like some photos I was like, oh, that wasn't like my natural look,
Absolutely.
You know? So.
And
But then other ones I love.
Oh, yeah, so. Seriously. And it's really what you're feeling is a huge influence on whether or not you like the photos. But first, let me talk a little bit about what the trends are right now. I talk to a lot of brides, and they always say, I know what I like, I just don't know what words to use. And I'm going to give you a few words just to help with that when you are talking to photographers. The really trendy things that are right now are like the soft romantic light. So you get that glowiness in the back, a lot of bokeh, which is kind of like the leaves and the trees just really blurred out in the background. That film look, which is kind of, I would say the film is a little bit more dark and grainy, but very romantic. But the number one thing I hear all the time is getting those portrait candids that are like in the moment, that are very intimate, that really just show off the personality.
That's so true. And I think the photographer can really, really help with that too. You know, like saying a joke so you make him laugh, so it's not like an awkward laugh. You know, I think there's just a lot of elements to it, and I'm sure you can, you know, talk more about that and how photographers do a good job of that. So
and it's just getting to know the couple. I know that there's some couples that I can really joke around with, and those, after I get to know the couples a little bit better, I know that I can't really joke around with them because they're just a little bit more serious. And it's really playing into those personalities to make sure that they feel super comfortable in those sessions. So, but it's incredibly important to have a photographer you feel comfortable with.
So do you have a certain process in place to really help get to know your couples really well?
Yeah, I like to have in-person meetings. I always call and talk with our brides before we book. So I really get to know them pretty well over the phone just by hearing what their plans are. And just with working with a lot of couples, I can kind of get an idea, oh, well, this bride is going to be probably more interested in this type of session or this type of photography. And that is a way that I can kind of pick out which ones are going to be the best for us. It's really important to us that they have photography that matches what they're hoping. And I know that we're not the photographer for everyone, but having that phone call, which I know not everyone likes to talk on the phone, but it really does help. Because we have so many brides that are not even in the Indianapolis area. So that's our one way that we can get to know them a little bit better. If we get a chance, we really like to have dinner with our couples. That's a way to really loosen up and get to know one another, just have food.
I love that.
It's really fun. When we get a chance to do that, it's sometimes just me because we do have 2 kids, but when we do get a chance, when it's both of us and we get to hang out with our couples, I love it. It makes it so much more laid back. And then when it comes down to doing photography for the wedding day, it feels less like strangers following you around with a camera. It's more like, maybe we know these people. So.
Right. I love that. Well, as we wrap up here, do you have some other tips that you want to share with brides? And brides, again, whoever's tuning in, feel free to ask some questions if you have some.
Definitely.
For Jen,
I'm going to try to make it really short, but I do have a couple that I think would be very helpful for the engagement session alone. Picking a location that makes you feel comfortable. So if you're not a very outdoorsy person, kind of like me, I don't really like being around bugs and that kind of stuff. So if you put me in the middle of a field, I'm not going to be comfortable. I'm going to just thinking about bugs crawling and spiders around me. Like, that's just who I am. So I'm going to be more comfortable in a place that, like the city or even like a small town or a park. So considering those sorts of things, it might be really pretty to have an engagement session in the middle of a field, but it's not if you're not that type of person that can just put that aside, it's not going to be a great session for you. Another thing is just really getting those personal things about you that make you unique. So making that session uniquely you. So we had this couple that met in culinary school, and I love that because we were able to play off of that. The engagement session, we actually done a kitchen session. They baked us some food and cooked some stuff, and it was delicious. But I mean, we benefited from that because it was
yum.
We got these really great photos that were very unique that no one else has because this was them. This is something they're very passionate about, and that's how they met. And so it was just a really great way. So that's something you should consider. Like, what are some things that we really enjoy doing together? How did we meet? And incorporating those things into the session can make it more personal, and you can pull out those candid moments from just creating that session alone.
Right. No, I love that. That's really unique.
Another thing was doing the session around sunset. I don't know what it is, but 90 minutes to sunset, it's gorgeous. The light is gorgeous. But anytime before that, I found that doing those candid images can kind of look cheesy. I don't know what it is, but I really I always try to do almost all my sessions 90 minutes before sunset or sunrise, which is actually my favorite. Not very many people want to get up for an engagement. It's gorgeous. I really like the sunrise. But if you can, talk to your photographer getting 90 minutes before sunset so that you can get that nice glowy look, soft and romantic. So it's not the harsh lights. And I'm pretty sure it's probably just harsh lights and shadows that make it look a little pretty. But if you like a more traditional look, that's probably the way to go. But look at blogs. Junebug's Weddings is one of my favorites. it has great weddings on there, but the one thing they do highlight is wonderful photography. And so I find a lot of inspiration on there. There's all sorts of blogs that you can go on, but definitely June Mug Wedding is my favorite for that timeless, in the moment, candid portrait-like images.
Well, great. Well, thank you so much. I feel like these are such amazing tips and that brides can really take away from this show, but also just really incorporate into their engagement sessions and kind of helps them to think a little bit more about their engagement session, you know, and how they can make that more about them too, and maybe how they met. You know, like an example of what Matt and I did is we met at the Skyline Club, so we did some pictures there because that's where we first met. And I didn't really think about the fact that, oh, I totally forgot that we actually did that there. But now that you made me think of all this, I'm like, oh yeah, we kind of incorporated how we met into our engagement shoot. And I didn't even plan it that way. So,
and it's also something that you can apply to the wedding day. It doesn't necessarily have to be engagement. This can be applied to wedding day too. So,
absolutely, that's so true. Well, thanks so much. It's always great catching up with you, and thanks so much for providing some awesome tips.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And thanks so much, brides, for tuning in. Really excited that you're able to tune in. And as always, like if you weren't able to tune in live, we do post these videos on our YouTube channel, just to Plan the Day YouTube channel. And next week, we do have a bride coming on the show. She just got married not too long ago, so she'll be providing some great tips for you all. So make sure you follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so you get an update on what the topic will be. So we'll see you next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And have a great night, everyone. Bye.